Do a quick little review on the Northern Tool Klutch 220 SI welder here. This is the multi-processor. I've had this thing going on, I think, over a year and a half now, close to 2 years. And this was the best I could find at the time in my price range. However, I have to say I am extremely impressed with it. I've only been welding for 17 or 18 years now, so still learning a lot. I definitely don't know what I'm talking about. But that being said, I was very impressed with this for the money. I think at the time they were $700-800, and I waited for it to go on sale for like $100 less than normal. And then I even found a $20 coupon, which basically paid the tax, and went to the store and picked it up. I didn't expect it to be as good or last as long as it has so far. Knock on wood, hopefully I'm not jinxing myself. I have probably, around 150-ish pounds of MIG wire through this already. Most of that being 035 Lincoln. L56, or is it L65? I think it's L56. That ER70-6 wire. I have bought the Matheson wire for this, which is the house brand. They say it's just as good, made by Lincoln, but no, it's not as good. I think the Lincoln is better. It wets in better. For the most part, I run C25 gas, and I have played around with some other things. When I first got this, I didn't have the money for a cylinder, so I was running just the flux core, which it worked pretty good, but I didn't burn a whole lot of it, so I can't give an honest review on that. I'm sure it was just fine. Machine is consistent. This is a single voltage machine. I have a clean 235 volts out here at my little shop, quite a ways away from my house, from the main power. So I drop about 5 voltage over 90 feet or so. And then I've got a nice extension cord for this thing. It's probably 25 feet. This thing pulls just good. It's nice and consistent. I have run 023 and 030 wire on this. It runs good on those. Mostly I just run 035 though. I have the spool gun that came with it. I barely used it. I'm not a big aluminum guy, although I do keep 100% argon on hand just in case I need to do a little bit of aluminum. One thing I found with the aluminum is my settings are really weird. I don't quite remember, but the little chart that is in it, it says X and X settings, and it was a little bit off. So, I think my wire was supposed to be like way down here, and to get it to flow properly, it was like way up here. But again, I'm not an aluminum welder. I don't do a lot of aluminum. I try to stay away from it, to be honest with you. I was a little ashamed to actually have this welder at first, so I did a quick paint job and put a sticker on it. But at this point, to be honest with you, I would buy another Klutch. For the money, for as good as it's been, consistency, it's been pretty good. In fact, I'm thinking about buying another one of these, but with the dual voltage. I'd like to have that 110 outlet in case you need to go out and do some little repairs and I don't have proper power. What else can I say about it? So, you can see the thing will lay some pretty good beads. It's I play around with it a lot. I play with the settings a lot. You can pretty much go with the settings on the cart, but if you are on the chart, but if you are a pretty experienced welder, you'll find that you can tune it a little bit. I like the fact that it's not digital. One less thing that could possibly break on it. A couple things I can say that aren't the best. The lead isn't the greatest, but I'll tell you what, at first I was babying this thing. I don't baby it anymore. This thing gets beat up pretty good. And like I said, I've got probably 150 pounds or so wire, and that's all still on the original cone and the original tip. When I first got this, I would weld a bunch with it, just on scrap, get it really hot, and then I'd quench it in some new motor oil, just like 30 weight or whatever. I did that a few times. Got it really hot, quenched it in oil. Really hot, quenched it in oil. Now this thing, it cleans up really, really well. I don't use anti-spatter. I don't use nozzle dip. And I do weld with it. There's not a whole lot I can say about it. It's a little short, but the drive has plenty of power. I can't say much bad about this thing at all. Honestly, I'm really super impressed with it, and I would buy another one. That's after, well, I think going on 2 years that I've had this machine, and really made me think twice about the Klutch name in general. If they can make welders this high of quality for this price, then I'll probably consider buying some of their other tools, although I don't have any other Klutch tools that I can think of. Now my friend, he went out and spent darn near $300 or $3,000 this year on a new Miller 252 or whatever, 250 amp. This thing's rated at 220 or 230 amps, I think, on MIG. And all he has is MIG. He doesn't have the multi-process. He can't put a spool gun on it. He can't buy the TIG attachment. He can't run stick. And honestly, this thing seems to run a little bit hot for what it's rated. And this thing will do every bit as good of welds as his welder can. Now, I think a part of that is I'm a better, more experienced welder than he is. And I think that goes a long ways. If you don't know how to weld, it's not your machine, it's you. If you do know how to weld, you can probably make about anything work. But I'm really happy with this thing for what I've got invested in it. And it makes me not even want to go out and buy a new Lincoln or a new Miller because I'm so happy with the Klutch for the price. I'd probably buy more of their welders. This is not a paid endorsement or anything like that. I'm just, a cheap little shop. Or garage doing little work here and there and little repairs. Most of it's my own stuff. I've built some pretty nice railings with this thing, some heavy duty railings. I built a nice staircase for the front of my house. Maybe if you guys ever comment or anything saying, asking to see some of the stuff that I've built, I will be happy to take some videos or get some pictures or something. I don't know how to do editor or anything like that with YouTube, but I can try to figure it out if you guys actually have some requests. I did a big, couple hundred linear feet of railing, freestanding railing that is going around like an old antique tractor for display downtown. And this thing ran great. The duty cycle on it is rated at like 30% or something. And I really push that. I mean, I run this thing until it starts to act up, but I've never had the trouble light come on. It'll start to just not quite weld right, sound a little bit funny, and I just got to set it down, go take a break, go cut something, just do something else for, 10 minutes or so, and then come back and pick it up, and it welds fine. But, I mean, I can have this thing cranked up. You see right now my voltage, I'm running like around 8, 5.5, a little close to 6 on the wire, and I'll run this thing for probably a good 20 minutes. So just move. I got got decent helmets. Of course I can't never find anything when I need to, but I've got auto flash helmets, so it's not like I'm stopping and looking for my next start. Oh, there's the one I usually use up there. It's a speed glass. So I can weld quite a bit with this thing consistently before I give it a break. And sometimes I try to keep in mind that I need to give it a break before it starts to act up. And also stick. I have run some stick on this. I try not to run too much stick just because wire is so much more convenient. If I had the 110 option, I would probably use this more out in the field because I would run stick out where shielding gas isn't very convenient type of thing. I have found that, again, the Matheson brand or the cheaper rods don't run nearly as nice as the Lincoln 7018. Also, this is DC only, so don't expect to get some AC stick, which is probably what you're going to find at like Home Depot. And I guess that is about as much as I can say about it for now. Go ahead, if you're learning how to weld, this would probably be a good machine to learn on. If you're on a budget, I'd say this is a pretty good machine. I would put it up against any other machine in its class. Since I know what I'm doing, I think that goes a long ways. Some of this stuff it doesn't look pretty because I just tack scrap together to make things, like that welding table over there. That's just all scrap. Steel's awfully expensive, and I'm not trying to make super pretty stuff when nobody's gonna see it. I never thought I'd make a YouTube video. So you know, some of this stuff just, it ain't pretty. Like these corners and stuff, because that's scrap. That's just from my cart. You know, I modified this cart to make it the way I wanted it. Put some big tires on it and made this goofy little handle. You can tell it's made from scrap. I've got an old chipping hammer on here that I use as a handle for pulling the darn thing around, just because it don't have to be pretty. This is just in my shop. Another thing I can say is, as far as cheap brands go, I got a good deal from this guy on this Master Force 7-inch grinder. I think I paid like 20 bucks for it. That thing's actually well worth 20 bucks for sure. 120 new, I think. I'm not sure if I would buy. I don't know if I'd pay that price for it. But I got it for 20 bucks. I figured, oh, what's the worst that's going to happen? It's going to break. Well, no, it's been fine. But at the same time, when I got that, oh, where is it? I got the Menards brand chop saw too. It's got to be laying around here somewhere. And that chop saw, oh, it's over here. The Performax. I'm pretty sure that's the Menards brand. That thing, well, it's not all that good, to be honest with you. That thing kind of sucks. I got this pawn shop Makita. I don't know whoever the hell painted this Makita freaking red. But this thing, I think I paid like 80 bucks for it at the pawn shop. This thing is a beast. This thing's a beast of a chop saw. But that Performax for the $20, I almost feel like I got ripped off. Or maybe I paid 30, I don't remember. But if you even try to give it any sort of, you know, cut and force, she'll bug out and smoke and stop working for a day or two. I'm surprised it actually came back to life after doing that a few times. That thing, you really got to take forever to let the blade do the cutting. It doesn't really, I mean, it has the same technical amperage rating and whatnot as the Makita, but that thing just sucks. So, I guess that's all I can say. Klutch 220, go ahead and get one. If you can, get the 220 SI, or I mean, heck, maybe some of their other models, but I'd say Klutch is pretty good for the money.